Hello and welcome to the Mindset Model Podcast. I'm Sarah Davis, your go-to confidence coach. This is the place where self-doubt gets kicked out, confidence gets turned up, and you get the tools to live the life you know you are meant for. In this podcast, we dive into real stories, mindset magic, we have guest experts, and the truth about what it really takes to live your best life. So grab your coffee, turn up the volume as we are raising our standards and stepping into the version of you who owns the room. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Mindset Model Podcast and YouTube. Now, apologies, it's been a week or so since I have recorded my last podcast. There's been a few things going on. First of all, the Wi-Fi incident. Oh my goodness me. So you might notice in my last couple of episodes, the sound wasn't that crisp, wasn't that delightful. And that is because I've had to be recording everything in a different way, because we've had no fucking Wi-Fi. Something that was meant to be really, really simple. Virgin Media was like saying to my husband, oh, why don't you get a fantastic free new router? Free! Plug it in! Really easy. Off you go. All those good vibes. So my husband's like, yeah, we love free. Why not have some free? Get some free involved. So we get this router, plug it in, just doesn't work, does not work. So we're like, shit, we've got no Wi-Fi. And then you don't realize how much everything runs off the Wi-Fi. Like I'm talking our security cameras, our fucking doorbell, the obviously, you know, all of my work stuff, all of my business stuff, everything is Wi-Fi. So then we had an engineer come out and he was like, well, I've got some great news for you. It's not actually the box, but the bad news is we need to dig up your lawn and get a cable out from underneath there. So I was like, well, how long is that going to take? 2 fucking weeks. So here we are, 2 weeks later. The cable has now been fixed. And here I am talking to you lovely people on my beautiful podcast with full, fantastic, speedy Wi-Fi. So that's that. I have also just come back from an epic hen party in Norfolk, which was amazing. So one of our friends, Molly, is getting married. It's a massive, like 5-hour drive, other side of the country. It was a heat wave, and I'm talking like last time I was talking about a heat wave. This time I'm like, how am I alive right now? I don't even know. So as you can imagine, there was lots of fun, lots of drinking, lots of shenanigans and all sorts of things. So that is why this podcast is slightly delayed. So please forgive me, but don't worry because I've got a very, very good episode for you today. And this one is all about feeling stuck in core areas of your life. And I really wanted to share some examples of how I've elevated these key areas. Now, these areas that I'm talking about are career, romance and money. So these are 3 areas which I know a lot of people really struggle with and can get really stuck and frustrated and what the hell is this life? These 3 key areas are areas which I have completely transformed over the last 10, 14 years, however many years it's been. And I'm in a really good place with these areas. And I wanted to share what I did, how I did it. And of course, it's all to do with your self-image, your mindset, confidence. And I am where I am now because I just changed the stories I was telling myself. You are where you are right now because of the stories that you've been telling yourself. So, my loves, we're just going to change those stories to stories that we genuinely want to believe to create our best life. So, the first topic is career. Now, I love working. I love my career. I love my business. I have had to slightly change over the last couple of years what this means to me. So not defining myself by my career. What that means is if my career, say, for example, went down the pan or my business went down the pan, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, I'm the worst person. I'm useless. I'm worthless. I'm just amazing as I am without my career. But career and business is very, very, very important to me. Very important. It's why I'm here. It's what I love. It's what lights me up. It's what drives me to get up and just create and just be my best self. So I really wanted to focus in on that topic today because I know so many of you that are watching and listening really resonate with this message. Career, we love it. We're here for it. Career, business, all that good stuff. So, just if you're new to this podcast or this YouTube, wherever you're watching this, so how many years ago? Oh my God, I forget my years. But anyway, before I had a very bad car accident, I had my dream career. I was an events presenter for a very well-known skincare brand called Clarins. So I was very much in my element, delivering these educational beauty events all over the country. I had incredible opportunities where I went to these amazing events. You know, I went to the Queen's Coronation Festival in 2013. I was like Les Manoirs. I was like just incredible places. Um, and you know, I was very career driven and very high up, should we say? Not high up, that's like the wrong terminology, but I'd got really far and I was like, yes, this is fantastic. And then literally the very next day, it had all gone because I had this car accident. Lorry went into the back of me, and literally overnight, my entire life had changed. So I woke up the very next day, just not even really knowing who I was. I was very unwell. I had a brain injury, I had a back injury, and I just completely lost myself. Now, at that point, I gradually started to deteriorate, and it was the scariest feeling ever. I can't even put this into words for you. Imagine having like the career of your dreams and then waking up one day and not being able to do what you love. Like, it's the most soul-shattering thing to happen. And I was absolutely terrified, like the fear that I had every single day, thinking, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. And I did. And then I was just stuck in this place for a few years where I was telling myself this story that because I'd lost my job, it meant that I wasn't good enough, I wasn't worthy, I'd never be able to work again. And I was really feeding into this story. So anyway, I managed to, you know, start working with mindset and mindfulness and all of those things. And I gradually got back into a corporate role, but I had to start at the bottom, which, as you can imagine, was a bit shit. You know, it's a bit like imagine if you were at school, and you're just about to do your GCSEs and they were like, hey, you got to go back to primary school, start colouring in. Actually, that would be quite fun. But do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. So I had to start from the bottom and I felt very frustrated, very stuck. And I was still telling myself these stories that I wasn't good enough. I've lost all of my confidence, my capabilities. I'm not going to be able to get to where I was before. And but I was very unaware that I was still having these stories. So over the last few years, you know, I'd been doing job hopping. I was going from job to job to job to job, trying to get that external validation as such. Maybe if I move here, then I'll feel better. No, that didn't work. Maybe if I get this job, I'll feel better. That didn't work. Maybe if I go over here. So I was just doing this pattern over and over and over and over again. But I didn't realize that it was an internal problem. It was a feeling to do with my self-worth. I still felt like I was that person after the accident that couldn't do anything anymore. Some very traumatic things happened to me after the accident. Um, little things, not little things, but things like I couldn't afford to pay my way anymore. So my boyfriend, at the time, who's now my husband, but my boyfriend had to pay for everything. That felt really bad. That felt like, going from, I could pay for everything, a bit flash with the cash, to literally nothing, like being on benefits. I felt really embarrassed and hurt by this. And the guilt, oh my goodness me, the guilt would just eat me up inside. And I was holding on to that. I was holding on to that. And I didn't realize until very recently, within the last couple of years, that these stories were very, very much still playing in my unconscious mind. And that's when I started to change them. So I started to change the narrative. And I was like, I am going to look at the evidence of actually how confident I am. And I'm going to push myself and I'm going to do things that I wouldn't normally do. So I started creating presentations on how I can elevate the current company that I'm working for. I started to approach people, be the first one to speak up. I stopped hiding away and I started to be seen. This built more momentum, and I had to have a lot of courage. And that's a really key word here, courage, because courage is when you are still your authentic self, you still have that fear and that vulnerability, but you still go for what you absolutely want. I'm just going to rewind back actually as well. When I got back into the corporate world, I was so desperate to get back to normality and have a job again. I literally accepted the lowest wage ever because that's all I thought I was worth, because I was damaged. And because I still have these cognitive issues. They're not going to go away, but I just manage them and I work with them, and it's a part of me now. I still have problems with my back, but I manage it and I work with it and I look after myself. So that's another way where you can hold yourself back in career, accepting less than your worth. And that is, again, all a story that you're telling yourself and you're projecting that into your reality. So, anyway, fast forward. So, when I started changing the narrative, changing the story, putting myself out there, building that confidence, that is when everything changed. And now I have my absolute dream career. I love what I do. I'm a brand experience and education expert for a stunning brand. I get to go around the country meeting incredible people, standing on stage, talking, doing what I love. And that is literally just because I changed the narrative. So I want you to ask yourself, in your career at the moment, where are you holding yourself back? Are there areas where you are really recoiling, not going for opportunities? Has there been something that's happened to you previously? Like, have you gone for an interview and not got it? And then maybe you've said to yourself, oh, well, it's not meant to be. No, keep going, because you don't know what is around the corner. If there's something that you're genuinely passionate about, keep going. But sometimes we're not aware that we are actually holding ourselves back, and we're not aware of our self-image. Are you somebody who is confident, who shows up and gets the promotion and gets the career opportunities, gets the business opportunities, gets the client? Is that in your self-image? If not, you can absolutely change it. So, the next thing we're going to talk about is love. Woo! Love is in the air. Yes. Now, this is an area which, many of us humans have had an absolute shit show trying to find love. And, let's rewind back. So, when I was younger, as a teenager, all of my friends are getting boyfriends. All of my friends are there with their lovely boyfriends. And then there's me. There is me. No one is interested in me because I was literally ugly. I can say that now, obviously, being a confidence mentor, self-image, and all of that good stuff. you have to be very careful the way that you talk to yourself. I can say these things now because it's just funny and I just find it funny and it doesn't affect me. But I was fucking ugly. I did not fit in. I did not look like the other girls. And all of my friends who were like skinny blonde, they all had the boyfriend. And there was me, like the curvy, tall brunette with the frizzy hair and the glasses. Like there was no boyfriend in sight for me. So I created this story in my mind that I'm not good enough unless I look a certain way, unless I weigh a certain amount, and all of that. Then there was the first boy that gave me attention. I was like, oh my God, there is a boy. He likes me. Quick, quick, quick. Just grab what you can get, like get that attention. He wasn't great. And it was just a case of because my self-image was so low, I was just accepting, just going with it. And this is the story that happened very much through my teenage years, my early 20s. Oh my goodness me, the ghosting that would happen. Like I would go meet a guy and then he'd be giving it all of this, like, oh yeah, you're amazing. We'd get on really well. I'd be like, oh my God, this date went so well. And then nothing, literally nothing. And then the desperate vibes come out, don't they? And you're like, oh my God, maybe I should text him. Yeah, 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 I'm going to text him. No, I shouldn't text him. Oh, but maybe I should text him. And then you text him. And then he doesn't text back. And you're like, oh my God, I've texted him. He hasn't texted me back. He thinks I'm a freak. Maybe I should text him just to say, I'm sorry to text you. Do you know, like, what even is this? And it's because I had this story in my mind, which was, I am not good enough. Nobody wants to date me. It was I literally just had the worst confidence and self-worth, and still but that is when I started to change it. I started looking after myself. I stopped seeking validation from boys, and I'd be like, screw you, motherfucker. I don't need you. I am fucking fabulous and sexy as I am. Thank you very much. Then comes my boyfriend, now husband. Mm-mm-mm. So I was at a place when I met him when I was literally like, I'm an independent woman. I don't need anyone. I'm the fucking best. So obviously, the love of my life comes along. We have been together now for 14 years and we've been married for 7. And our relationship is better than fucking ever because I work on my confidence, my self image, and my self worth. So we just enhance each other. We just elevate each other and he is my human, I'm his human. We just love being together and it is effortless. It is fun. It is just fucking amazing. But back then, I was a completely different person. So questions for you now. If you are going around saying to yourself, he doesn't want me, or I need to lose weight, or I need to look better. No, no, no. That rewind. That is an absolute no. You need to stop that. This is where the self-image, the self-love really, really comes into play. You have to love yourself first before someone else will love you. And if someone does come along that loves you when you don't love yourself, that is when you start attracting the narcissists and the dickheads and the fucking whatevers. Like, this is why so many people get stuck in relationships with men which don't respect them because you don't respect yourself. So always, always, always focus on yourself first. So the final thing, which is money, 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 money. This has been and still will be the biggest transition. Is that the right word? What word do I need? Like, money used to be an absolute trigger to me. And like most people, money is just so challenging, and there's lack and scarcity, and like everyone is going mental over money because it's just so hard to make, it's so hard to get. Now, my money story growing up was very much like, we can't afford that, that's too expensive. you can't go on that trip because we don't have any money. You can't have that because we don't have any money. You can't go there because there's no money. So there was all of this mentality of I can't do the things I want to do because there is no money. Then there would be things like there would be family arguments and feuds and fallouts because of money. So my unconscious mind, my subconscious was like, money sounds like an asshole. We don't want to be anywhere near money. Money can back the fuck off. So I'm unconsciously repelling money because money to my unconscious mind is danger. It causes arguments and fallouts and all of that stuff. So we're going to stay well away from there. Can you see what's happening here? So I've had to work so fucking hard over the last few years to change my money story and actually allowing myself to spend money, circulate money, treat myself as such has been really hard because after my accident, I I had literally had nothing and I couldn't treat myself. I couldn't get anything, couldn't do it. And the guilt I would get from buying myself a coffee or I don't know, getting myself a book or, I would be like, oh my God, I feel like the worst person on the planet. Where the hell did that come from? So I've had to work really hard to change that narrative and change that story. So if this sounds a little bit like you, how can you start rephrasing? Now, money really is an abundant source. It really is. But we are getting in our own way. We are blocking our own money coming in because of the stories that we're telling ourselves. We're literally running away from it. So, what we need to start saying to ourselves now is there is so many opportunities for us to be creating money, attracting money. When you circulate money, when you're spending, you like to use the word circulate. Language is very important. Circulate. When you're circulating money, be grateful that you are able to do that. So, for example, paying your bills. Nobody wants to fucking pay their bills. But if you change your perspective on that, paying my bills means that I have electricity, I have water, I actually have a roof over my head. I'm really fucking grateful for that. And I love to invest money on my well-being and my health. And the more that I circulate money on my well-being and my health, the better I show up and the more money I create and the more money that comes in to my reality because I am on that frequency of the money. So, teaching myself that money isn't a scary thing. And it can be really hard, especially if you're around a lot of people who still have that lack mentality. But just take it step by step. And, where I am at the moment, when I first got back into like career corporate, I've literally like tripled my income. Like I was on peanuts. And now, because I've changed my money story, I've just changed how I see myself. And I am worthy of having my dream career. I am worthy of making that money. I am worthy of having all the things that I love. Because when I have all the things that I love, I shine bright and it encourages other people to then shine bright and go after what they fucking want. And what a beautiful life and existence that is, where everyone can literally just live like this. So, there we have it. That is my little episode today, just sharing my experiences on how self-image, the way that you see yourself, the words that you use, and the stories that you're telling yourself really make an impact on your life. So, your homework, my loves, is to think of 3 key areas in your life that you really want to elevate and expand. Have a look at your stories that you're telling yourself and change them to the stories that you want to be telling. Because the truth is, I love this metaphor. You are the writer, the author of your life. You have the power to write your next chapter. You absolutely do. So, what is going to be in your next chapter? Make sure it's a good one. And I will see you in my next episode.